Here we go.
I guarantee you, if it's 2022, I will not be in quarantine. I will be breaking the law at that point. It will be over.
All right. Well, let's move into some news. It has been an interesting week for news.
Seems to be a lot this week.
There's a lot of little stuff.
Yeah, little things.
But let's hit one of the big ones first, and something that just broke today. Rumors are swirling that Warner Brothers is working on a Harry Potter TV show for HBO Max. This would be a live action TV show.
What?
Is this a 2021 Luke
Would
prediction?
would this be a prediction from somebody? What? That's crazy.
This early too, man.
We predicted that 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Look at this, man. I guess it's not confirmed yet, so I haven't gotten it right yet.
It's pretty much confirmed. Like,
this is a good when you see the Hollywood
Yeah.
Reporter report something.
Yeah.
You get I have it like at 81% right now that I'll be able to hit a check mark this one on my spreadsheet.
Yeah, the quote from Warner Brothers today was, "There are no Harry Potter series in development at the studio or on the streaming platform." Though multiple sources have confirmed that the project is in the very early stages. I think what's happening here is that there's probably been a number of pitches, and they like something caught their attention, and they like it, and they just haven't
greenlit.
They haven't greenlit it. They don't have a director. They don't have anyone to write it. It's simply just too early to actually say this is in production.
All right, so let's play a game. What do we think it would be if it happens?
Well, I'll start off by saying the second half of my prediction.
Oh, that's right.
Is that it's going to be based around the 4 founders of Hogwarts and them creating Hogwarts. Kind of like, I don't know, it's probably like the 15th century or something, whenever that was. I don't know how old Hogwarts is. I'm not
During the height
that
of
big of a
witches and hunting
pothead,
and
so
stuff.
yeah. And I think you can really, really do some absolutely crazy stuff with that. That's what my vote is for. I think that's the best option. I think that's what they will do, and I think it's what they should do.
Ooh, will do and should do. One of my favorite podcast games. I absolutely love that. I'm so glad you said that.
Over in the chat, Deadfist JT says it's about witches and wizards. If I had to guess, safe bet.
Man, he nailed that.
I actually don't think they'll go that far back. My prediction would be that this will be a show centered around a young Snape at Hogwarts.
Ooh.
Because as those movies progressed, we got little sprinkles of Snape.
Mm-hmm.
And it would not surprise me with how much people ended up loving him in the end, that they go back to his younger days at Hogwarts, and we find out, about the kid who was bullied and overcame that and became a professor and a powerful wizard, and how he got in with the Death Eaters. And I just think there's a lot to explore there, and I think that's the route they go. With an in loving memory.
Yeah,
kind of feel
that would.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
That's one of those. You could have the kind of Harrison Ford Han Solo issue with casting, though. Like, how do you we never really see. We see Snape in some flashbacks, but you don't really see him as young Snape.
Right.
You only have Alan Rickman really as Severus to base that off on.
I wish we could do this 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And cast Adam Driver.
Oh.
I've thought about this all day long since that news broke. It's all I've been thinking about. I freaking love Harry Potter, man. But I also love Luke's idea too. I think that would be a lot of fun.
That could be cool. I'm going to go with the obvious one, which is the one that it's the obvious prediction, but I think it's the least likely to happen. And that is, it's a proper sequel to the films. It follows some of the characters that we already have. You know, the Harry and Hermione and Ron. We get to see them doing things later in life.
I would
think
vomit.
I don't disagree.
Force Awakens it or
Again,
Cursed Child?
this is would/should. This is what I think they
Yeah.
would do, not what they should do, because it brings back those characters
Yeah.
that people love. It's the little nostalgia, and they get to you know, you can have an episode that's at Hogwarts. You can have an episode where Harry's chasing down some fool over somewhere else, you know,
As a ministry member?
as a ministry member. So, like, I think that's maybe something they would do. Something I would love for them to do, which I don't think they do. This is what they should do, in my opinion, is diversify. I would love to see something take place, not in the crazy distant, like maybe sometime between the the Fantastic Beasts series and the proper Harry Potter series, and have it not be in England.
Ilvermorny.
I just think that
Go to the American school.
yeah, that would be cool. I just think that, you know, Harry Potter could use some diversity in its in the world that it has, and we know that there are wizards around the world, and we've only really seen the European variety. We get to see a little bit of, you know, USA in the first Fantastic Beasts film, but, you know, I just think there's lots of potential there that you could play around with in a TV show.
Another option I think is it's kind of along the lines of what you said about them continuing. But I think they would just get rid of the beloved characters. Just make Ministry of Magic or TV show.
Yeah.
It would just be kind of like a cop show, except everybody's using magic.
Yeah.
It's a procedural.
And
It's
then-
Criminal Minds in the Hogwarts world.
And then it turns out there's a bad guy that they have to catch because, you know, there always has to be a bad guy.
You know, honestly, I could, like, that. It's kind of what I wanted Fantastic Beasts to be. Is kind of what I'm hearing you describe. Not necessarily the cop thing, but like you go off on an adventure. You get to go to different places. You follow Newt around, and then at the end, yes, he's involved in the greater story, and he has to fight the bad guy. But yeah.
If they do that, they need to cast the dude from CSI Miami.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Looks like he kicked the cauldron.
Yeah! That could get outrageous. Either way, I'm excited for a Harry Potter show.
I think this is actually the least likely option, but I think it's still an option. I wouldn't put it past Warner Bros. What if they just did a full-on reboot of the Harry Potter books as a series?
I actually wouldn't hate that as a TV show.
I wouldn't either.
I think that opens the door to so much more storytelling.
Yep, I'm with you. I think a lot of people would hate it.
This guy.
I
This
think
guy hates
I
it,
think
I
you could do. You could include so many things from the books that
Now, what you
were
could
just
do,
absolutely side.
what you could do is, what if you set it in like the same continuity, but just show different points of view of people, and have little side stories, right?
You can
could
do that with a TV show.
Have the actual House Elf Revolution storyline happen.
Heck yeah.
Or
No. Take that is. I don't like that in the books. All the house elves are like, no, we love being slaves. Don't do that.
Yeah,
I
you could
think that's
you
what
probably have to
that's
rewrite it a little bit for.
Yeah. Oh man, I when I reread those books, I was like, oh dang, I forgot about all this. This is freaking whack.
I feel like rewriting those books, maybe there's like, oh, maybe there's some red flags here about like, maybe we should have seen some of the controversy around J.K. Rowling coming.
Dude, what if I just keep coming back to all these different ideas. if they did like Luke's idea with like the founders of Hogwarts, and then like later season, like let's say if they made it to a season 4, they could create the Triwizard Tournament.
There could be some cool stuff there.
Like, and how that was
Dude,
created. Oh my goodness. There's so much there.
I'm just like,
There's a lot of potential
for the founders,
there in that universe.
I'm imagining all of these like witches and wizards being oppressed. They're being burned at the stake and whatnot all across the world. And then these 4 get together and they're just like, let's get a safe place for all of us. And they're all friends at the beginning. But then what happens? Slytherin's like, yo, only purebloods. I'm racist. Let's go. And then Gryffindor and Helga and Rowena, is that her name? I don't remember her name. Ravenclaw lady. They can be like, no, everybody should be in. And then you can start splitting off into like what really happened with all these factions and where their beliefs came from.
Yeah.
And how the Sorting Hat was
And
made.
then I don't know where all that leads. I don't know if that's already been decided by Rowling or
And that's where you have the
Harry
wrench.
Potter.
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling. That's the linchpin in all of this. How does she impact it? She's in not the best social situation. So I wonder what her involvement would be. I assume EP at the bare minimum.
Yeah, at some point I think a lot like Lucas, at some point she's going to have to turn over the keys to the kingdom. She's not there yet, obviously. But at some point it may just be better for everyone. It's one of those things where it's like it's a no-win situation if you stay around.
Yeah.
Here's a big check and we'll just take it from here. I don't know if she'll ever do that, but you know.
Then she would write a book.
Yeah.
It would all flip over.
Well, she's written a lot of books, so
That's true.
Well, yeah. If we're curious, we love to hear what your guys' theories are.
yeah, let us know what you guys all think.
What do you fanboys and fangirls want to see out of a Harry Potter TV series? Let us know. Either
what will they do and what should they do?
in the chat or in the comments, just please tell us. Very curious. Or tweet at us. So, what else we got news-wise, boys?
A big movie got delayed indefinitely. I don't know if you guys saw this. Huge deal. The Bob's Burgers movie.
Oh, no.
Has been delayed with no release date by Disney. That's
a Disney movie?
Yeah, they own Fox, man.
Oh, yeah. So that's something else I did this week.
It's a tragedy.
I watched the first 2 episodes of The Great North, which is the same creators, but it's with...
Oh, yeah, okay.
What's it? Ron Swan... why can't I think of his real name? Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec voices...
Nick Offerman?
Nick Offerman voices, like, the main character, and it's about a family who lives in Alaska. It's fine. But the Bob's Burgers thing, that movie getting delayed does not surprise me.
They're too busy working on Deadpool 3.
I was going to say they're working on other things. If they've got the Great North, if they've got Deadpool. Regular Bob's Burgers, if they've got Deadpool to write, yeah, they're busy. That's probably not a great return on investment for Disney. That kind of a film.
I had to lead with that. I know I got Luke. I had him in the first half.
Well, we did.
I mean, you mentioned a movie delayed, and I could probably name off like 20.
I was gonna say, do we want to talk about other movies that got delayed again?
Sure.
So we had. Oh, where did I had them written down somewhere? Oh yeah, No Time to Die, Ghostbusters, Last Night in Soho, and there was another one that I just had on my head. Oh, A Quiet Place.
Oh, Uncharted.
Yes.
All the Sony movies.
All the Sony movies, and yes, Uncharted got delayed. The first couple that I mentioned are just moved to the fall right now. Uncharted got bumped all the way to 2022 because it was a later release for this year. So, yep.
Too bad they didn't get a new director last year.
Would have retroactively given you a point. Not really. I wouldn't allow it.
I wouldn't either.
But kind of along like a tag off that story, we did get news today that AMC Theaters has raised $917 million in new equity and debt capital. So it should allow them to make it through the winter, whatever that means, without bankruptcy. But if all these movies are not coming out to the fall, are they going to have to do this again in the spring and summer to try and...
How did they raise money?
I don't know how finances work.
My question is, what do they mean by winter?
That
Because winter ends in like 2
right.
weeks.
Well, yeah.
Or something.
My guess is,
Or is it
through March
winter
or
of next
something.
year?
I don't know. I don't know.
Next to January.
January 2028.
Ugh.
The
We're still in quarantine by
pandemic
then.
is finally over.
Oh, man. What you got, Luke?
All I have is a video game thing and Kong.
It's your video game
So I don't know if
thing.
you still. Well, there was a patch for Cyberpunk.
Hey. It made it better, right?
Patch for parts, yes. However, it included a game-breaking
Oh
bug.
no.
That's good.
Oh no.
I didn't look it up. I just told myself I'm not gonna play this game until it's fixed. That's what I did when one of the bugs was if your save file's over 8 megabytes, it will erase your file or corrupt it. I was like, well, I'm just not gonna play it until they fix that.
Isn't that crazy,
No,
man?
do it again. This game, it's just a travesty, man. What's going on?
No one knows.
I feel so bad for the people at CD Projekt Red because they're never going to get a day off. They're just going to be constantly trying to fix this game. I'd quit. I'd leave.
I think several people in their studio have quit.
Oh yeah.
Like they've just been like, yep, we're done with this.
Yep.
Don't need that stress at this time in my life right now. That's what I would say.
Yeah. It's just
Go work for a studio that cares
gonna
about their.
the thing about it is that there are clearly lots of talented devs there, and so like there should not be a shortage of work for them. You know, out of all of this, like the game did obviously ship very broken, but it sounds like it's kind of a miracle the game shipped at all. and
Hey, multiplayer coming soon.
yeah, soon. So there
I was
there
talking to
obviously
Luke
are
about this.
opportunities.
That's such a bad idea. Sorry.
But no.
Well,
Your game's broken. Here's some multiplayer.
nothing makes
Thank you.
people happier when they can shoot each other.
Tyler, over in the chat, JT said, "No talkie of the Resident Evil Village showcase."
And that's where I was going.
Tall lady!
That's where I was going.
How about them tall ladies?
And so there's a couple Resident Evil things. And while we're talking about, I'm going to kind of double segue this. So, Luke, you talked about the trouble that Cyberpunk is having. Another troubled development that's kind of been going on over the last couple of years is a Resident Evil 4 reboot. It's been struggling to really get off the ground. There's been a lot of like disagreements between the team that's working on it. And I guess they settled on doing a partial reboot. I don't know what that means. I'm not going to pretend to know what that means. But I'll tell you, it doesn't sound good. I don't know how you...
Why does it need?
How do you partially
Why does it need a reboot?
Why would you partially reboot a game? What is that
I
even?
don't know.
What is that?
Don't know.
Anyways, so to talk about what JT brought up, the tall lady. The tall lady, I feel strange when I watch that gameplay. And I don't know what I mean by that either. I feel strange in ways I don't feel like explaining here. But that
tall lady is very scary, and tall lady is also
Mark
attractive.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And
insert Bill Hader gif here. No, so I actually watched that gameplay today, JT, and Resident Evil is a franchise that like I've always liked, but I've always kept it at an arm's length. Like I'll play it from time to time. I'll pick up one of the games on like a really big sale. It's like $10. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll play that. Those are pretty fun. I didn't play Biohazard, which is like the first person Resident Evil game. But watching this one on the next gen consoles, and now I no longer trust E3 demos or anything like that. But this game is gorgeous. Like, it looks so good. Like, the environments they've created, like, all I can think about is Transylvania. Like, you enter this castle. I thought of Van Helsing. I even mentioned that.
Yeah.
You kind of walk into this castle, and there's these 3 girls that kind of appear out of, like, moths or something. I don't really know what they are. And they attack you, and then they take you to the tall lady. Take me to the tall lady. But no, the game itself is gorgeous. Like, it looks awesome. I just don't know how I feel about a first-person Resident Evil game. I just don't know if it's for me. I will definitely keep my eye on this one, though, because
I think Resident Evil 7 got a lot of praise, and I think that one was first person.
yeah, it was. It was the
Yeah.
first time they had kind of ventured into that world, and I think,
It was VR too.
yeah, it
Oh,
was,
that's
wasn't
right,
it?
it was.
It was. I wonder. Biohazard is going to go on a sale when Village gets a little bit closer, and if the reviews for Village are really good, after seeing that gameplay demo and how pretty that game looked, I might take a swing on Biohazard, and if I like that, maybe I'll try Village. But this was, I mean, it's one of the big games that was announced with the new consoles.
Yep.
It looks like it runs great. I'm keeping tabs on it.
Well, something else I'm keeping tabs on is the rumor that there is a Knights of the Old Republic game being
Yeah.
developed by someone who's not BioWare.
I think Luke knows who it is.
Epic Games.
Yeah, so
Do you think it's Rockstar? Is it?
No, you had said it was Lucasfilm Games as kind of a joke.
Oh,
and I was like,
yeah, I
yeah,
forgot about
that's
joke.
probably accurate. I think it's Bethesda, if you really want to know who I think it is.
I think that's a good choice. I would be interesting at this point to see them do something that's not. And we kind of talked about how Bethesda's moving to more of a first-party studio mindset.
Yep.
And I don't know if you could get away with that with Star Wars.
I got one Lucasfilm property.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's Obsidian, actually.
Well, and I guess.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh,
That is a perfect guess. Perfect fit.
that is a perfect fit. That's great.
Because KOTOR is a lot of like dialogue and branching storyline, right? They did Outer Worlds. Be a good fit for it.
That would be a good fit. Yeah.
Also,
They need to work on their combat a little bit, polish that combat up, but that's a great fit for that game.
yeah.
We also got some news that Valve is apparently still making games. We've seen one game every decade from them, with Half-Life Alyx being their last one that came out on VR. But yeah, I think they kind of just every once in a while stoke the fire to remind people that Half-Life 3 may be coming out sometime.
They just torture the Half-Life fan base.
I know. I feel so bad.
Every
I don't
few
care.
years.
I'm not a Half-Life fan. I don't care. This is
It's just-
news for me, but
it's
for
just-
someone else, it's a heartbreaking or a clinging to hope moment.
It's just so sad. Those poor people.
I'm gonna write that down for my predictions next
That's
year.
not a bad one.
That would not actually be a terrible one after Alex. More gaming news. Games with Gold for February were revealed. And I'm only going to mention one because I didn't write down the other 3. But Gears 5 is in Games with Gold for February. I am going to mark Christmas snoobs.
So if you're
In
not on
February.
Game Pass, you can still play Gears
5,
5.
which is one of the best games to play on the Series X. Apparently it runs, it's optimized. Like, well, I say apparently, I've played it.
Mhm.
Like, it runs really well. It's optimized great. The multiplayer is at 120 FPS. Or no, sorry, locked at 60. My bad. 120 is Destiny. No, I mean, it's an awesome game. Highly recommend it.
Nice.
The ranked system's really good. Go check that out.
Yeah, I have not beaten that game, but that was another one that I put, I don't know, 15, 20 hours in and like really enjoyed. It's a nice blend of open world and
Yeah, it was a little different.
linear gameplay missions. Yeah, pretty good overall though.
I beat that one.
Still
weekend.
haven't beat the first one.
Dude, you were so close. That is still one of
Eh.
my favorite podcast stories. It's so funny to me when you told me that. Like, yeah, I made it to this thing. I was fighting this guy on a train. Like, Luke, you're literally on the last level. Oh, yeah.
Couldn't beat it. Didn't care enough to keep trying.
Well, Tyler, you mentioned Xbox Live Gold. We had an interesting Xbox Live Gold thing. News story
so bizarre.
/ reversal happened this week. So we got the news that Xbox Live Gold was going to go up in price. So over the time, they've kind of changed how Xbox Live Gold works. Because there used to be like Xbox Live Silver and Xbox Live Gold, and now they have Xbox Game Pass. And they're all kind of different. Silver is no longer really a thing. But Gold still exists if you want to play multiplayer games and get the downloads. It's kind of the basic online package, right? You have to have this in order to play. Well, they upped it essentially from $40 a month, or $40 for 6 months to $60 for 6 months. And that's the most affordable price right now because you can't buy the 12 months anymore. And that got a lot of people real angry because that
the
was
internet acting weird.
a
Mad about
50%
stuff?
price increase. Things like free-to-play games have always been locked behind Xbox Live Gold. So even though they're free to play, you still have to pay Xbox Live Gold to play those games. Xbox Live Gold is one of those things that's just, I think it's a carryover from an era that's kind of come and gone. When we look and think about games as a services now, how publishers, how platform holders make their money has to change too. And so because of all the backlash they got this week, I mean, this was the same day. So like the news broke at like, I don't know, 9 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
Probably 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. Pacific time.
I was going to say it was like lunchtime
And
here.
before I went to bed at night, they were like, we royally screwed up and we're not raising the price and we're making free-to-play games actually free-to-play. You won't have gold required.
That is such a quick turn.
And part of that's because I think the price thing was one thing, but the free-to-play thing was people finally brought up that, hey, on PlayStation Plus, you don't need PlayStation Plus to play things like Apex or Fortnite.
Is Destiny included in that?
Boy, Destiny is the weirdest freaking games of service situation I've ever seen. I don't even know.
You can play, I think, PvE activities for free. But I think you can't do Crucible. I played Destiny 2 on my PS4 for like 2 hours. I picked a Warlock. Hated it.
Of course you did.
Then, like, I don't know, 7-8 months later, I got Destiny. I downloaded Destiny 1. Picked a Titan, loved it. But yeah, I remember I was playing with people and they're all walking around and they're in the same activities as me and everything. So they do have some strange rules. I don't know if they've changed them though, since that's like 2 years ago now. So
yeah, who knows? What did you guys think about the price change / reversal?
It just felt like a weird publicity stunt to me. To do that and make that switch all in the same day is kind of like, but we love you guys. We won't do that. I don't know. It just seemed kind of manufactured.
Luke?
I totally missed it. I don't know how, but I never saw that. I saw the tweet about how they were fixing Xbox Live, and I was like, I didn't know it was broken.
Yeah.
Just in your bubble over there.
And then I think I saw Brett's tweet like a little bit later.
Yeah.
And that it was, hey, Xbox, you shouldn't be doing this. And I was like, oh, they made a poor choice earlier, I guess.
Bad choices.
It's one of those things where, I mean, part of the justification was they haven't raised the price in almost 20 years.
Oof.
That's on you. That's you don't you don't get away with like being like, hey, we're gonna do 18 years of price increases right now. And again, I mean, when you look at
You
like
mean
the
you can't do
you-
that? As a buyer for a living?
Netflix raises their price every year.
As a buyer
well, that's
for
the
a
thing.
living?
Like, what they should be doing is small upgrades
Incremental changes.
every couple years. That's just logical. You'll get some pushback, but I mean, I get it. The price to manage and maintain things like servers, those cost money, and it doesn't get cheaper, especially if you're adding servers and things like that. And I think Microsoft's been willing just to eat the bill because they're Microsoft and they have a ton of money. They can afford to do that. Obviously, at some point in probably the last 6 months, they had a conversation and they said, look, we got to make up costs and yada, yada, yada. This, for whatever reason, they decided to do it this way. I don't understand how anyone but an accountant could come up with this and think that it's a good idea. But luckily, this is an example of a company listening to its user base, making a change. Again, how much of that is manufactured, to Tyler's point, we'll probably never know. We do know that there were actual, like, the physical cards you can get were manufactured and sent out. So, like, it's not like it was just a all of a sudden overnight thing, but the decision to pull it back was pretty quick. So,
Yeah, as like by profession, I'm a buyer, and like people, like when companies raise prices and they're negotiating with like our company, like we push back, right?
yeah.
When you are raising the price on the globe for a service, you're going to get a lot of pushback.
Yeah.
Especially when your increase is more than like 3%.
Yeah.
Like that's an insane ask. You're absolutely right in saying like not increasing the price for that long is totally their bad. They missed out on that opportunity. That ship has sailed. They better increase it by 1% year over year and hope for the best.
Well,
at this point,
it seems like there's maybe even an argument that could be made that the price increase was maybe a bit artificial to encourage people to jump to Game Pass. Game Pass is, $5 more a month. It has way more value.
heck yeah, dude.
But I just don't think that this was the way to do that.
No.
You need to have a basic budget option, and when I say budget, I literally mean budget option for people who buy your product.
Yes.
To even just use your product, because I don't know anyone who's going out and buying even a $300 Xbox Series S to not play online things, and so to basically artificially tack another $40 every 6 months or $60 every 6 months. That's I don't agree with that.
Doesn't sit well.
Well, the reason they're not going out to buy one is because they can't find one.
Well, there is that.
Also, they shouldn't be in stores anyways. But yeah,
I'll go there right
okay.
now.
Don't know, Luke. You're in quarantine. Other news. Tyler, you have anything else?
I got one more thing
All right,
before
go
we
for
get to
it.
the big one.
Go for
What
it.
do you got?
I got a couple things, but
Okay. Well, in the sad news of the week, Larry King passed away.
that's true.
Probably the greatest interviewer of all time.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
So that's incredibly sad. I was kind of talking to some people about it this weekend, and it's kind of one of those guys you just never thought was gonna go away.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that negatively. I just mean like he just was always there. Like he's kind of a staple, and it's really sad to know that now he's no longer gonna interview anyone ever again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't think any of us consider ourselves professionals by any standard, but seeing him as someone in the broadcast, like a broadcast legend, and we're kind of trying to do something similar with this, and it's like, wow, someone to look up to, and yeah, like even now in his passing, we can look back and learn from him. So, bad news.
Yep.
I got a couple other quick stories. Luke, you'll be excited about this. There's a Willy Wonka prequel movie that's being made. He's just shaking his head. He doesn't like that.
I thought you loved Wonka.
No, hate it.
It is.
I don't like Roald Dahl. He likes murdering children, which I just find
It
weird.
is coming from right now, the director who's attached is Paul King, who did Paddington. So, there could be some.
Hey, Paddington 2 is 100% on Rotten
Paddington
Tomatoes.
2 is like one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm just waiting for the story of Paul King leaves Wonka prequel because he doesn't want to murder children in a movie.
Okay.
I'll watch it.
Dude, I hate Wonka. I hate it.
Well, let's move on to something you love. We had a little bit of a rumor that Matt Damon was going to return to the MCU in Thor: Love and Thunder, reprising his role as an Asgardian, maybe? Or what do we think?
He's actor Loki, right?
Is he just back for another cameo, or is he getting an actual role?
I don't think it's an actual
It'll be another
role.
play.
I'm sure it's just another quick bit.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot more sense.
I think that's awesome.
It is. I think that idea of like these little bits kind of carrying over from film to film are really, really cool, and they're really funny. So I'm here for that.
He'll be in the Asgard Players or whatever. He'll be doing it, and I think he and Korg will be doing an acting bit together. Korg will be joining the Asgard Players.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
I don't the lady protest too much.
Sign me.
We also learned that Josh Duhamel is replacing Armie Hammer in the J-Lo rom-com that I know all of us are probably going to watch, The Shotgun Wedding.
Who? Josh Duhamel?
Josh Duhamel.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Duhamel, and I was like, I don't know who that is.
Oh.
Sorry.
I probably just said it wrong. I read things fast.
I probably say it wrong.
But yeah, if you weren't paying attention, there was like some weird Armie Hammer controversy in the news the past like 2 weeks. We didn't mention it before because I just thought it was ridiculous, but I guess it's bad enough now that he's dropping out of this movie. So it's weird. Don't look it up.
I'll spare you the details. Armie Hammer's a cannibal.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on.
Maybe he should play Wonka.
Yeah. And then finally, Misha Green is going to be directing the next Tomb Raider film.
Oh, that one broke today, didn't it? Yeah.
Yep. She's writing and directing it, and if you've never heard of her, that's okay. She is most recently known for doing Lovecraft Country, which has a mixed reception here on this show.
It started so strong.
Well, and I'm hoping maybe
it just
being
means
like
the first act will be
like
great.
a 2-hour movie, like it'll be a little more focused. Like I think part of Lovecraft's issue is that it's all over the place.
Yes.
Its source material is all over the place too. My guess is that this will be a little tighter because it's a cohesive one story. And I think she's actually pretty good about working weird stuff in. Like, I think some of the mythology that's around Lovecraft Country is really intriguing. And if she can work that into a Tomb Raider, that style into a Tomb Raider film story, I'm here for it. So I'm actually kind of excited.
That book is good.